Jeg har noget, jeg virkelig synes, I skal se. Det er voldsomt. Det er sygt. Blake, can you please tell me history? Sorry. Blake?
Sorry, right, okay.
Just tell me a story about the World War II.
When I was a young man, my father took me to the city to see a marching band. It's the intro to a song. I was hoping that you would know the reference. It's actually a reference to Linkin Park song or something like that. Anyway, so reference not got there. Do you want a genuine story then?
Yes. Yes, you want me?
A minute. I only have so many stories, you know.
Can you please tell me about World War One, if you know something about that?
Well, I was in the Ottoman...
No, not use Xanax.
Yeah, I know, but... And I was playing Battlefield 1 and... yeah, or World War 1. Yeah.
Blake, bro.
Well, give me a second. I'm trying to think of another story.
Okay.
All my stories are somewhat related to chemistry in some way.
I got a history teacher on the school. Can I please record this so you can see it? I think he would be very glad.
Okay, just give me a minute. I'm still trying to figure it out.
It's gonna cry.
What the fuck? That's kind of
Well,
funny.
something rather funny is I believe that the Germans did still experiment with sarin gas at some point.
I skal se
And the
der.
unfortunate property, or the fortunate property in this case of
Hør
sarin
det
gas
også.
was that it has quite a low freezing point, or quite a high freezing point, sorry. So when they were in the cold of Russia, and I believe the Germans wanted to use it against the Russians, what happened was they would load up the sarin gas.
Et sekund.
I think they got absolutely fucked by the Russians.
Hej guys, jeg synes virkelig I skulle se det her. Normalt laver jeg ikke video, men jeg synes det kunne være sjovt det her. Og så hvis det bliver taget godt nok imod, så skal vi gøre det igen. Prøv at lægge mærke til her, jeg sidder inde på en tøfsøver. Prøv at høre nu.
Yeah, he's Blake.
Who is Blake? That's a good question.
Tell me another story, bruh.
Bruh.
I also can't sleep at night. Trust me. Blake, please.
Give me a minute. I'm trying to think of these stories.
He's just going to record and put it on YouTube just for money.
Oh, what?
New mate. 10 little seconds to 10-minute video and just more money. Yeah, mate. We all know that.
Jeg tjener ikke penge på YouTube. På nogen måde. Det eneste jeg overhovedet er tæt på at tjene penge på, det er Twitch. RIP.
So, I believe Albert Einstein had a revolutionary effect on the way we perceive the universe, and one of his most, well, not probably his most famous theory, but was the fact that space and time were curved. And this meant that light itself could also be curved by the act of a very large body of mass, without it actually being attracted by the gravity. So, to try and prove this, Albert Einstein set out to observe the stars in relation to the moon when it was eclipsed. But unfortunately, when he was doing this, I believe it was during one of the world wars. I can't remember which, but it was during one of the world wars. So it actually took him multiple years, almost I think about 5 to 10. I'm really not sure about the numbers here. But yeah, he proved during wartime, or maybe just after, that the universe was in fact not a solid, not a empty plane in which bodies of matter exist, but a kind of curved fabric. So this was why light actually does bend around the sun, despite the fact that a photon has no mass inherently. So there you go. That's another interesting science story.
Thank you, Blake. You're really good, Blake. Thank you.
No problem.
You helped me sleep at night.
I just hope you're all learning something.
Can you say hello to the video? Just please.
Ooh, yes,
You made my day.
Of course I can teach you chemistry, flick of the wrist.
What?
Alright, so we know that all atoms are made up of three fundamental subatomic particles, obviously the proton, the neutron and the electron. Now, the electron, as many people would draw it, is a kind of ring around the atom, though this isn't strictly true. What happens is electrons are, first of all, arranged in shells around the atoms of various energy levels. So the first energy shell contains an s orbital. Now, an s orbital is a spherical area around the central nucleus in which the probability of finding an electron is highest. And then, when we move up to the second energy shell, and remember these energy shells are denoted by the number n. So when we move up to the second energy shell, we get an s orbital, and we get a p orbital. Now the p orbital consists of almost 3 lobes, I believe. Can I make drugs with chemistry? Yes, I can. You can do reductive amination of pseudoephedrine, which you can find in your local pharmacy, and you can make meth. THC would probably be harder to synthesize.
You can actually drink just like a bit of fun or just cough syrup, and yeah, you can go with that, you know.
Isn't it dangerous?
Cough syrup.
But you don't need drugs to have a good time.
No, you don't. You can just play CSGO.
I mean, I'm sure alcohol can do that, even though alcohol is technically a drug.
Yeah, probably.
Actually, the structure of alcohol is quite simple. You see, alcohol is C2H5OH, I believe.
Yep.
Yes. Oh, Xanax, do you do chemistry?
Yeah, in school, yeah.
I only do drugs. Don't worry. I don't do chemistry. I'm just joking.
Anyway, so back to the structure of the atom. There are 5 different types of orbitals, I believe, which is the S, the P, the D, and the F. So that was 4. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I've lied to you all. And anyway, so electrons are never actually in set position. What they are is quantum particles. So you can always know the probability of finding an electron, but until it is actually observed, it is a probability. Okay, so somebody's asked me what's the easiest way to memorize the periodic table. Now the way I do it is I like to make words and letters out of the periodic table using the symbols. So for example, if I said fluorine, uranium, carbon and potassium, I've just spelt the word fuck with chemistry.
Oh.
And
What the fuck?
and
That's
for
kinda intelligent.
Okay.
For example, if I say carbon, uranium, nitrogen, and tellurium, even though tellurium has an E at the end, I've spelt cunt, but with an E at the end.
Oh, so you mean with those what is it called? Oh, what is it called in English? Yeah, I know what you mean. Like
If I call
NO2.
somebody an arsenic sulfur, that means they're an ass, because that's ASS. So that is probably the most fun way to memorize a periodic table. And
Yeah,
another
that was
fun
what it
way
called.
is to learn the elements themselves. For example, if somebody asked me what's the most reactive element on the periodic table, I'd go fluorine. If somebody said what's the least reactive, I'd go helium. What's the most complex in terms of the compounds it forms? Carbon, obviously, because there's a whole branch of chemistry dedicated to carbon chemistry. If somebody were to say if somebody were to say N, I would know it's nitrogen, and I know the properties of nitrogen because it's a very unstable molecule, and it's essential for making explosives, really. You see, the nitrogen... I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here. But nitrogen gas is so incredibly stable because of the 3 bonds that it forms, that when you break apart these bonds and you form different compounds, when they go back to atmospheric nitrogen, they're releasing an incredible amount of energy. You'll find most explosives that you actually look up, or if you look at the structure of them, they will contain a nitrate group, which is nitrogen bonded to 2 oxygens, and I believe there's
Yep, you're right, dude.
I don't know shit about that, but it sounds really great.
It is really great. It's the whole, what's the main principle behind most explosive chemistry is that change in enthalpy that you get when you go from a very, very unstable compound to a very stable compound, and there's a great exothermic release. And a fun word.
Wicked sick.
Oh, I just got complimented by the server narrator.
Can you say hello to my chemicals teacher?
Yo, Blake.
He's gonna
you
watch
know
this.
that You will probably get money if you use your voice for, I don't know, narrating something. You get money for that.
Well, I don't do it for the money.
Yeah, but dude.
Well, I might do. But anyway, back to the elements, or how to memorize them. A great nice picture to get in your mind is that as you go to the right of the periodic table, the electronegativity tends to increase, and you've got to learn these trends. So, for example, if in organic chemistry, it's very essential to know whether something would be a good acid, or whether it would be a base, a nucleophile, an electrophile, and you can learn a lot of these properties by looking at their area on the periodic table. For example, if I were to go all the way over to the right and think of electronegative elements, I'd think of the halogens such as chlorine, and I'd think of bromine, fluorine, all these kind of really dangerous, nasty chemicals, which I like to learn about, really have helped me learn the periodic table as all, because so if you were to learn the halogens, which I'd recommend brushing up on them because they are very interesting, you get fluorine, which is obviously the most reactive element. You get chlorine, which was used during the First World War, as we've already covered, and it's also used in pools and such like, and the gas itself is very toxic. Then we get, after that, I think it's bromine. And bromine is one of the few elements which is liquid at room temperature. And there's a very interesting reaction I'd like you to look up called the Devil's Cauldron reaction, which is where somebody puts bromine and aluminium foil, and there's a very violent exothermic reaction where you get aluminium tribromide. And
Blake?
it looks amazing, it really does.
Blake, I really gotta go, but thank you for the information, okay?
No problem.
Will you have a good day?
Academic. I will have a good day. Thank you. You too.
See you. Thanks.
Goodbye.
Hey, wait a second, Blake. Say goodbye to the video, please.
Oh, dude.
Make an outro.
Damn.
Top of the morning to yourself. Fuck. Goodbye, YouTube. He's gonna put on YouTube, isn't he?